Picture a summer afternoon in a small Virginia town, where the sun turns the local pool into a shimmering escape from the heat. Kids laugh, water splashes, and for a moment, life feels simple. But for one teenager, sitting alone by the pool's edge, every glance from the crowd feels like a judgment, every whisper a warning. That's Daniel Harris, a black kid who's only been in Willow Creek for 3 months. He's learned fast that this town has rules you don't raid. They're in the tightened grips of mothers' hands, the quick steps of neighbors avoiding his path. Today, he just wants to swim, to feel the water wash away the weight of being the outsider. But what's about to happen will crack this town open, exposing truths no one can ignore. Stick around, because what happens next changes everything. The air is heavy with the scent of chlorine and sunscreen, the kind of day where the heat clings to your skin. Daniel sits on a worn plastic chair, his navy swim trunk still dry. His eyes move across the pool, children shrieking in delight, parents sipping iced tea, teens showing off flips into the deep end. A family walks past, and the mother pulls her young son closer, her beach bag clutched tight. Daniel looks down at his phone, pretending not to notice. He's used to this now, the subtle ways people signal he doesn't belong. Back in his old neighborhood, the community pool was loud and crowded, full of faces like his. Here, he's a single dark spot in a sea of pale skin, and it makes every moment feel like a test. He shifts in his seat, his fingers brushing the lean muscle under his loose white t-shirt. Years of martial arts training with his grandfather have shaped his body, his discipline. Those mornings in their old backyard dojo flood back, sweat on his brow, his grandfather's voice calm but firm. Stay sharp, Daniel. The world's always watching, but you decide what it sees. A small smile tugs at his lips, but it fades as he catches the stare of a woman across the pool, her eyes narrowing before she turns away. He checks his phone again. No text from his mom, Sarah, probably still at her second job, waitressing until midnight. He told her he was heading to the pool to cool off. But really, he just needed to escape their cramped apartment, the fresh graffiti on their door still burning in his mind. A splash of water hits his sneakers, and he looks up to see a kid, maybe 8, chasing a beach ball. Sorry, man, the boy says, grinning. But when he meets Daniel's eyes, his smile falters, replaced by a flicker of doubt. Before Daniel can respond, a sharp voice cuts through. Lucas, come back here right now. The kid's mother hurries him away, not glancing back for the ball. Daniel picks it up, sets it gently by his chair. The crowd has shifted, leaving an empty circle around him, like an invisible barrier. His grandfather's lessons echo again. They'll try to make you feel small. Stand tall anyway. He rises, stretching his 6-foot frame, and walks to the pool's edge. The water sparkles, promising relief. A chance to just be a kid again. Maybe if he dives in, they'll see he's no different from them. But then he hears it, laughter loud and edged with cruelty, coming from behind. He knows who it is before he turns. Tyler Brooks and his crew, the kind of guys who rule Willow Creek High with smirks and threats. Well, look who's crashing our pool, Tyler calls out, his voice carrying over the chatter. Thought this place had standards. Daniel keeps his breathing steady, his grandfather's training grounding him. He turns slowly, facing 3 white teens closing in like a pack. Tyler stands in the middle, blonde hair wet and slicked back, his grin sharp as a blade. To his left, Ryan Carter, tall and wary, shifts on his feet, eager for a fight. On the right, Ethan Hayes, broad and muscular, cracks his knuckles with a slow, deliberate sound. Lost. Kid. Tyler steps closer, his tone mocking. This pool's for members, the free ones on the other side of town. I'm a member, Daniel says, his voice calm, measured. Control your emotions. His grandfather's words ring clear. Ryan laughs, harsh and forced. A member. Bet he stole the pass. Ethan blocks Daniel's path back to his chair, his bulk looming. Maybe we should check his papers. Make sure he's not sneaking in. Daniel's muscles tense, but he keeps his posture loose, his eyes steady. He's dealt with bullies before, knows they feed on fear. Tyler leans in, his expensive swim shorts dripping onto the concrete. Heard some parents complaining. Said they don't like certain types hanging around their kids. The pool deck quiets, onlookers pretending to focus on their towels or phones. A young lifeguard glances away, but an older black lifeguard, Mr. Jenkins, watches from his perch, his hand hovering near his whistle. Daniel steps back from the water's edge, careful not to let them trap him. I'm just here to swim, he says, his voice firm but quiet. Tyler's grin widens, sensing an audience. Swim. Oh, we'll help you with that. Just want to show you how we do things around here. Ryan and Ethan move closer, their steps deliberate, the circle tightening. Daniel feels the concrete under his feet, the water at his back. His grandfather's voice whispers, "Never let them corner you. What's wrong, man?" Tyler taunts, his voice louder now. "Don't want our hospitality." Then it happens. Tyler's hands slam into Daniel's chest, the force sending him stumbling backward. The world slows as he falls, hitting the deep end with a shock of cold water. Laughter erupts above, but as he kicks toward the surface, a hand grabs his shoulder, pushing him down. Water floods his nose, his mouth, burning his throat. More hands join in, holding him under, their grip vicious. "How's the water, huh?" Tyler's voice distorts through the surface. "Cool enough for you." Daniel's chest tightens, his lungs screaming, but he forces himself to stay calm. His grandfather's words cut through the panic. "Water's just a battlefield. Turn their strength into your own." He sees their faces above, blurred but smug, thinking they've won. Ethan pulls him up for a split second, just enough for a ragged breath, before Tyler shoves him down again. The chlorine stings his eyes, but he keeps them open, tracking their movements, waiting. They think he's done, an easy target. They're dead wrong. Daniel lets his body go limp, faking weakness. Ethan's grip loosens, just for a moment. That's all he needs. With a surge of power, he plants his feet against the pool wall and explodes upward. His right leg snaps out, a front kick connecting with Ethan's chest. The big teen staggers back, gasping, his eyes wide with shock. Before the others can react, Daniel twists underwater, grabbing Ryan's ankle and yanking hard. Ryan crashes into the pool, arms flailing. Tyler tries to back off, but Daniel's already moving, his legs sweeping low, catching Tyler behind the knees. The bully hits the water hard, his confidence replaced by a sputtering cough. Daniel surfaces, water streaming off his face, his breathing steady despite the adrenaline. The bullies are scattered, Ethan clutching his chest, Ryan thrashing in the shallow end, Tyler struggling to stay afloat. Mr. Jenkins' whistle pierces the air, sharp and commanding. Tyler pulls himself up, his wet hair plastered to his face, his voice shaking with rage and fear. "What the hell was that? How did you?" But Daniel's already gliding away, his strokes smooth and powerful, the water carrying him like an ally. His grandfather's voice hums in his mind. Strength isn't in the fight, it's in the control. The pool incident should have ended with a whistle and an apology, but in Willow Creek, power doesn't let truth breathe easy. Daniel's victory over the bullies ripples through the town, like a stone dropped in still water, but the waves don't bring clarity. They stir up a storm. Tyler, Ryan, and Ethan aren't just kids with too much attitude. Their families hold the strings of this town, and they're pulling hard to rewrite the story. By dusk, Daniel's no longer the victim in the eyes of Willow Creek. He's the threat, the outsider who dared to fight back. And the machine that protects the powerful is already grinding into motion, ready to crush anyone who stands in its way. The evening sun casts long shadows across the Harris's small rental house as Daniel sits at the kitchen table, his hands still trembling from the adrenaline of the pool. His mother, Sarah, stands by the stove, stirring a pot of gumbo, her waitress uniform wrinkled from a double shift. The air smells of spices, but the comfort of home feels fragile, like it could shatter with a single knock. Daniel stares at his phone, the screen lighting up with notifications, texts, social media tags, each one twisting the truth. "He attacked us for no reason," one post reads, shared by a friend of Tyler's. "He's dangerous," another claims, with a blurry photo of Ethan clutching his chest. Daniel's stomach twists. "They're lying, Mom. They tried to drown me. I just did what Grandpa taught me." Sarah sets down her spoon, her eyes fierce but tired. "I know, baby, you did what you had to. But this town, it's got a way of believing what's easy." She pulls him into a hug, her arms a shield against the growing dread. The kitchen is cramped, the fridge humming too loud, dishes piled in the sink from days she hasn't had time to wash. Daniel feels her heartbeat, steady despite the fear he knows she's hiding. "They're saying I'm some kind of thug," he whispers. "There's videos, Mom, edited ones. They cut out what they did to me." Before Sarah can respond, red and blue lights flash through the window, painting the walls in stark pulses. A police siren wails briefly, then cuts off, leaving an eerie silence. Sarah's grip tightens. "Stay calm, Daniel. Remember what your grandfather said, control your emotions." Heavy boots thud on the porch, followed by a pounding knock. Willow Creek police. Open the door. Sarah straightens, smoothing her uniform, and opens the door to 3 officers, their hands resting on their holsters. The lead officer, a broad man with cold eyes, steps forward. "Mrs. Harris, I'm Officer Larson. We're here about an assault complaint against your son." "Assault?" Sarah's voice rises, sharp with disbelief. "My son was attacked. Those boys tried to drown him. That's not what witnesses are saying. Larson replies, his tone flat. We've got statements claiming Daniel attacked 3 minors unprovoked. Video evidence too. Daniel steps forward, his voice shaking but firm. That video's fake. They pushed me in, held me under. I was defending myself. Larson's eyes narrow. Watch your tone, kid. We've got a dozen people saying you're the problem. Sarah plants herself between Daniel and the officers. You're not listening. My son could have died, and you're here harassing him. Larson hands her a paper, his face unyielding. Court summons. Juvenile hearing, Tuesday at 9. Be there or we'll come back with a warrant. He pauses, his voice lowering. Chief Brooks, Tyler's father, takes this kind of thing personally. Sarah takes the paper, her hands steady despite the tremor in her fingers. We'll be there. And we'll be filing a complaint about those boys trying to kill my son. Larson's laugh is sharp, dismissive. Good luck with that. The chief's got this town locked down. The officers turn to leave, their cruiser's lights flashing one last time before fading into the night. Sarah closes the door, leaning against it, her strength crumbling as tears spill down her cheeks. Daniel hugs her tightly, feeling her shake. They're trying to bury me, Mom. She pulls back, wiping her eyes. They're trying to scare us. But we're not backing down. By morning, the town's narrative has solidified. Daniel wakes to his phone buzzing endlessly. More posts, more lies. He's a violent outsider, a kid with martial arts training who snapped for no reason. Someone's posted a clip of his kicks at the pool, edited to start after he was pushed in, making him look like the aggressor. Comments pile up, vicious and unrelenting. Keep him away from our kids. Knew he was trouble from day one. Daniel's hands shake as he scrolls, each word a knife. He's not just fighting the bullies now. He's fighting a town that's already judged him guilty. At school, the hallways feel like a gauntlet. Whispers follow him, eyes dart away when he looks back. A group of girls by his locker grab their books and scatter, one muttering, "That's the guy from the pool." Daniel's chest tightens, but he keeps his head high, his grandfather's voice steadying him. Dignity is your armor, wear it always. He opens his locker, trying to focus on his history homework, when he hears footsteps, multiple heavy, closing in. Tyler's voice cuts through the chatter. Look who's still showing his face. Thought you'd be smart enough to skip town. Daniel turns to find Tyler, Ryan, and Ethan blocking his path, their faces twisted with wounded pride. Tyler's eye is bruised, Ethan's moving stiffly, but their anger burns hotter than their injuries. You made us look bad, Ryan spits, slamming a hand against the locker. Nobody does that. Ethan steps closer, his bulk looming. My dad's a lawyer, he says you're done. Daniel's fists clench, but he remembers his grandfather's rule. Words before fists. I'm not here for trouble. Just back off. Tyler grabs Daniel's collar, shoving him against the lockers. Trouble's all you're good for. A teacher, Mrs. Coleman, appears, her voice sharp. What's going on here? Tyler releases Daniel, his face morphing into innocence. Nothing, ma'am. Just talking. He was threatening us, Ryan adds, his voice smooth. Like at the pool. Daniel straightens his shirt. That's a lie. They cornered me. Coleman's eyes flick to Daniel, her expression cold. I've heard about your martial arts, Mr. Harris. This school doesn't tolerate violence. Keep that in mind. She walks away, leaving Daniel alone as the bell rings. The bullies smirk, Tyler mouthing, you're dead. Daniel's heart pounds, but he forces his breathing to slow. The town's closing in, and the truth is slipping through his fingers. That afternoon, Mr. Jenkins, the lifeguard, finds him outside the community center, his face grave. Those boys' families run Willow Creek, son. Tyler's dad's the police chief. Ryan's mom's on the town council. Ethan's parents own half the businesses here. They're spinning this to make you the villain, and they've got the power to make it stick. Daniel feels the weight of it, the machine working against him. But Mr. Jenkins places a hand on his shoulder. I saw what happened at the pool. I know the truth. And I'm not the only one. His words are a lifeline, thin but real. Daniel nods, his grandfather's voice echoing. Strength isn't just in your fists, it's in your will to keep going. He heads home, the summons crinkling in his pocket, knowing the fight's only just begun. The air in Willow Creek grows heavier, as if the town itself is holding its breath, waiting for Daniel to break. Every step he takes feels like walking through a minefield. Eyes follow him, whispers trail him, and the weight of lies presses harder each day. The bullies' families aren't just fighting to save face. They're waging a war to bury the truth, and Daniel's caught in the crossfire. But in the quiet moments, when the world feels like it's closing in, an old voice reaches him, steady and strong. reminding him who he is. It's not just about surviving now, it's about standing tall when everything's trying to pull you down. Daniel wakes to a sharp crash, his heart racing before his eyes even open. Sunlight barely filters through his bedroom window, but the morning feels wrong, charged with attention he can't place. Daniel, come quick, Sarah's voice calls from the front of the house. Tight with controlled panic, he throws off his covers and runs to the living room, stepping over shards of glass scattered across the carpet. The front window is gone, jagged edges framing a hole where a brick lies among the debris. Sarah stands in the driveway, staring at their garage door. Red paint screams, leave now, the letters dripping like blood. Daniel's breath catches. This is because of me, because I fought back. Sarah's voice is firm, cutting through his guilt. This is because they're cowards. They hide in the dark because they're afraid of the light. She pulls out her phone, snapping photos of the damage. I've called the police, but don't expect much. Let's document everything. Daniel touches the paint, his fingers coming away red. His grandfather's training taught him to analyze threats, to stay calm, but this feels personal, a warning carved into their home. A car slows as it passes, the driver gawking before speeding off. By noon, the whole town will know, and the rumors will grow sharper. Mr. Jenkins arrives before the police, his old pickup rattling into the driveway. His face is grim as he takes in the vandalism. I heard whispers last night, he says. Cars circling your street. No one got a clear look, but this is how they operate. First they attack you. Then they attack your name. Now they're trying to break your spirit. Sarah's shoulders sag, but her voice holds steady. They won't. Not while I'm breathing. Jenkins nods, turning to Daniel. How you holding up, son? Daniel hesitates, his grandfather's voice urging honesty. I'm angry, scared. I don't know how to carry it all. Jenkins pulls a key from his pocket, his eyes kind but resolute. Your grandfather and I trained together back in the day. I've got a gym behind my house. Nothing fancy, but it's a place to channel that fire. Your grandfather would want you to keep your skills sharp, your mind clearer. Daniel takes the key, its weight grounding him. Thank you, Mr. Jenkins. The old man smiles faintly. Don't thank me yet. Wait till you see the drills I've got planned. The police arrive, Officer Larson among them, his face showing no surprise at the scene. Kids being kids, he says, scribbling in his notebook. Probably a prank. Sarah's voice sharpens. A prank. This is a threat. My son was attacked, and now our home's targeted. Larson shrugs. We'll file a report. Don't expect miracles. He leaves without another word, his cruiser pulling away slowly, as if mocking their hope. Jenkins shakes his head. That's the system here. Built to protect folks like Tyler's dad, not folks like you. That afternoon, Daniel walks his bike up Jenkins' gravel driveway, the old Victorian house shaded by massive oaks. Behind it, a weathered shed hides a gym frozen in time, wooden floors worn smooth, heavy bags scarred from decades of use. Jenkins is waiting, dressed in a faded army t-shirt, his movement still sharp despite his age. Your grandfather helped me build this place, he says, unlocking the door. Called it a sanctuary for warriors. Inside, the air smells of leather and sweat, a faint trace of incense. Daniel feels his grandfather's presence like a hand on his shoulder. They start with basics, blocks, strikes, stances. Jenkins watches closely, correcting Daniel's form. Good power, but you're tensing up. Anger's leaking into your moves. Daniel throws a punch, harder than he means to, and the bag swings wildly. They're trying to ruin me, Mr. Jenkins. At school, at home, everywhere. Jenkins nods, adjusting Daniel's stance. Your grandfather faced the same. People in power have a playbook. Make you the villain, make you doubt yourself. But you're stronger than their lies. They move to grappling, techniques to escape bigger opponents. Jenkins demonstrates slowly, his hands precise. Your grandfather loved these moves. Said size doesn't matter if you know leverage. Daniel practices breaking a chokehold, his muscles burning but his mind sharpening. Jenkins shares stories between drills. Vietnam, the civil rights era, teaching martial arts to black kids when most dojos turned them away. Your grandfather never started fights, but he never ran from them either. He knew the difference between standing up and stirring trouble. The sun dips low, painting the gym in golden light. They finish with a complex sequence, blocks flowing into strikes. Jenkins watches Daniel move, his voice soft. Those boys thought you were weak because they don't know what strength is. Cruelty's their game, not power. Your grandfather taught you better. Daniel wipes sweat from his brow, feeling lighter, like the anger's been burned into something useful. Same time tomorrow, Jenkins asks, tossing him a towel. Daniel nods. Yes, sir. Back home, Sarah's at the kitchen table, her phone buzzing with more hateful messages. Daniel sits beside her, the summons still on his mind. They ate dinner quietly, the gumbo cold now, but the act of eating together feels like defiance. A car slows outside, its headlights lingering too long before speeding off. Sarah's hand tightens on her fork, but she keeps her voice steady. Want more, baby? Daniel matches her calm. Sure, Mom, they eat on, refusing to let fear steal this moment, but the weight of the town's judgment grows heavier, and Daniel knows the worst is yet to come. The night is quiet in Willow Creek, but it's the kind of quiet that hides a storm. Daniel feels it in his bones, a tension that's been building since the pool, since the brick through their window. The bullies and their families aren't done. They're circling, waiting for a chance to strike harder. When a text from an unknown number lights up his phone, promising a truce, Daniel knows it's a trap. But sometimes, you have to face the darkness head on, not because you want to, but because running isn't who you are. What happens next isn't just a fight, it's a reckoning, and the truth is about to find its voice. Daniel sits at his desk, his history textbook open but unread, the court summons a constant weight in his mind. His phone buzzes, the screen glowing with a message from an unknown number. Meet at the pool at 9. Let's talk, no fighting. He stares at the words, his jaw tight. Another text follows, just talking. Time to end this. His fingers hover over the keyboard, his grandfather's lessons clashing in his head. Avoid trouble when you can, but never run from it. Mr. Jenkins' warning echoes too. They'll try to get you alone. Don't fall for it. But hiding feels like letting them win, and Daniel's tired of their game. Sarah's at the hospital, working the night shift. So the house is empty, the silence amplifying his thoughts. He changes into black jeans and a dark hoodie, his running shoes chosen for their grip. In the bathroom mirror, his reflection looks harder, older, the boy from 3 months ago fading. The walk to Willow Creek Pool takes 15 minutes, the streets empty under flickering streetlights. His senses, haunted by years of training, pick up every sound. A dog barking, leaves rustling, the distant hum of a car. His phone buzzes again. You coming? We're waiting. He doesn't reply, his steps silent on the sidewalk. The pool is closed, its gates locked, the water a dark mirror under a sliver of moon. No lights shine inside the fence, no cars wait in the lot, but Daniel feels eyes on him. He circles the perimeter, staying in the shadows, his grandfather's voice guiding him. Never rush him blind. A metallic clank comes from behind the equipment shed, followed by hushed whispers. Over here, Tyler's voice calls, too casual to be trusted. Just want to talk, man. Daniel doesn't answer, moving wider, keeping the fence at his back. He spots movement. Ryan's lanky frame, Ethan's broad silhouette, spreading out to block his escape. Tyler steps into view, hands raised like he's harmless. This has gone too far. Let's sort it out, just us. His face seems calm, but Daniel catches the glint in his eyes, the predator's edge. Why here? Daniel asks, his voice steady. Why at night? Tyler shrugs, neutral ground. No adults, no drama. But Daniel sees Ryan's hand twitch, Ethan's stance shift. You're lying, he says, his muscles coiling, like always. Tyler's mask drops, his sneer returning. Maybe. But you came anyway. Tyler reaches behind the shed, pulling out a metal pipe. You humiliated us, made us look weak. Ryan produces a chain, letting it dangle. Ethan grips a crowbar, his knuckles white. Daniel shifts his weight. Centering himself, you did that yourselves, he says. By picking a fight you couldn't win. Tyler's face twists with rage. Get him! They charge, weapons gleaming in the moonlight, their footsteps echoing off the fence. Daniel stands his ground, hands loose, his grandfather's voice clear. Let their anger make them sloppy. Tyler swings the pipe, aiming for Daniel's head. Daniel ducks, stepping inside the arc, his body fluid like water. Ryan lashes out with the chain, but Daniel catches it mid-swing, yanking hard. Ryan stumbles, crashing face first onto the concrete with a grunt. Ethan lunges, crowbar raised, but Daniel drops low, sweeping his legs out. Ethan hits the ground hard, the crowbar clattering away. Tyler swings again, wild with fury, but Daniel grabs the pipe, twisting it from Tyler's grip with a sharp turn. In one motion, he snaps a side kick into Tyler's knee, sending him staggering back with a howl. Ryan's up, swinging sloppy punches, his nose already bleeding. Daniel blocks each one, letting Ryan tire himself out. When Ryan overextends, Daniel grabs his arm, flipping him over his hip onto the ground. Ethan tries to stand, but Daniel's on him, pinning his arm with a precise hold. Stay down, he warns, his voice calm but firm. It's over. Tyler, clutching his knee, charges like a wounded animal. Daniel sidesteps, redirecting Tyler's momentum toward the pool. A gentle push sends him splashing into the deep end. Daniel grabs Ryan and Ethan by their collars, dragging them to the pool's edge. Remember trying to drown me? He asks, his voice low. Remember laughing while I choked? Please, don't, Ethan mumbles, his bravado gone. Daniel tosses them in, watching them thrash in the water. Tyler clings to the edge, coughing. How's it feel? Daniel calls. Being scared, helpless. The bullies huddle together, shivering, their weapons useless on the concrete. I could keep you here, Daniel says. But I'm not you. He throws their pipe, chain, and crowbar into the bushes far out of reach. Get out, go home. And stay away from me. We swear, Tyler sputters, teeth chattering. Just let us go, Ryan pleads. Daniel watches them climb out, dripping and defeated, limping into the darkness. A rustle comes from the fence. Phones being lowered, whispers drifting through the night. Did you get it? Every second. That was unreal. Daniel peers into the shadows but can't see faces. The witnesses, whoever they are, slip away, their footage a spark that's about to ignite. He stands alone by the pool, the water lapping quietly, his breathing steady. The adrenaline fades, leaving a clarity he hasn't felt in days. His grandfather would be proud, not for the fight, but for the restraint, the way he turned their hate against them without losing himself. The night air carries the sound of crickets, the distant hum of traffic. Daniel straightens his hoodie, his steps light as he heads home. He's faced their worst and come out stronger. Whatever's next, he's ready. The morning after the ambush, Willow Creek wakes to a fire it can't contain. The videos from the pool, both the first attack and the nighttime trap, spread like wildfire across social media, tearing through the town's carefully woven lies. Daniel's no longer just a kid fighting for his name. He's a symbol, a spark that forces Willow Creek to face its ugliness. The truth is out, raw and undeniable, and it's shaking the foundations of power. But with the spotlight comes pressure, and Daniel and Sarah find themselves at the center of a storm that's as much about hope as it is about justice. Daniel sits at the kitchen table, pushing cold scrambled eggs around his plate, too exhausted to eat. His muscles ache from the fight, but he hides the stiffness, not wanting Sarah to worry. She sips her coffee, dark circles under her eyes betraying a sleepless night. The cardboard-covered window lets in slivers of sunlight, a reminder of the brick that shattered their peace. The red paint on the garage door still screams its hateful message through the blinds. A sharp knock makes them both flinch, but it's Mr. Jenkins, bursting in with a tablet in hand, his face alight with urgency. Turn on the news, he says. This is everywhere. Sarah fumbles with the TV remote, but Jenkins waves it off. Look at this first. He sets the tablet down, a video already playing. The grainy footage shows Daniel by the pool last night, Tyler, Ryan, and Ethan closing in with their weapons. The audio captures every threat, every sneer. You should have left town, Tyler's voice snarls. Daniel's controlled defense unfolds, each move precise, each block deliberate. The bullies' defeat is stark, their pleas pathetic in the moonlight. Jenkins scrolls to another video, this one from the original pool incident. It shows the full attack. Tyler shoving Daniel in, the three of them holding him underwater, their laughter chilling. Sarah gasps, her hand covering her mouth as she watches her son struggle for air. Daniel's chest tightens, seeing it from the outside, the raw terror he'd buried under discipline. Jenkins grins, his voice steady. Multiple angles, multiple phones. Kids were there, hiding, recording. By midnight it hit TikTok, then Twitter, now national news. Look at the views, 3 million and climbing. Daniel stares at the numbers, his mind reeling. The comments flood in, a mix of outrage and support. This is disgusting, those kids tried to kill him. Willow Creek needs to answer for this. The TV blares with a breaking news alert. A reporter stands outside the Willow Creek police station, her voice urgent. Shocking videos have surfaced, showing a local teenager, Daniel Harris, as the victim of repeated attacks by 3 peers. Allegations of racial bias and corruption are rocking this small Virginia town. Jenkins switches to his tablet, pulling up a statement from Chief Brooks. He's calling it a misunderstanding, promising a full investigation, but his words sound hollow, desperate. The bullies' parents are hiring lawyers, Jenkins adds. But the evidence is bulletproof. Daniel's phone buzzes nonstop, messages from strangers, interview requests, links to posts condemning the attackers. One comment catches his eye, a thread where locals share stories of similar incidents swept under the rug. A black family's car vandalized, called a prank. A student beaten, dismissed as a scuffle. The town's history is unraveling, and Daniel's fight has cracked it open. Sarah's eyes fill with tears, her voice a whisper. This changes everything, baby. They can't hide anymore. Outside, a news van parks across the street, a reporter and cameraman heading toward their door. Jenkins warns more will come. This story's got it all. Racism, corruption, a kid who fought back with skill. The media's gonna eat it up. Daniel's phone rings, their lawyer's voice crackling through the speaker. DA's dropping the charges. These videos are a game changer. They're investigating the police now, not you. Sarah pulls Daniel into a hug, her sobs shaking them both. It's over, she whispers. They can't hurt us anymore. But the attention feels like a double-edged sword. By noon, their lawn is crowded with reporters, cameras flashing, microphones thrust forward. Daniel stays inside, watching through the blinds, his heart pounding. He's not used to being seen not like this. Jenkins sits with them, his presence a steady anchor. People are speaking up, he says. Neighbors, kids, even some teachers. The dam's broken. Sarah nods, wiping her eyes. I just want him safe. I want us to live without looking over our shoulders. That evening, Daniel steps outside for air, the reporters kept at bay by a neighbor who's suddenly on their side. He walks to the corner, needing space, when a girl from school approaches. Leela, one of the quiet ones from his history class. I was there last night, she says, her voice soft. I recorded it. We all did. We were scared, but we couldn't let them win again. Daniel looks at her, the weight of her courage sinking in. Why now, he asks. She shrugs, her eyes bright. You stood up. Made us feel like we could too. Back home, the news cycle churns. A national anchor reads statements from civil rights groups demanding a federal probe. Clips of the videos play on repeat. The bullies' faces blurred, but their voices clear. Daniel's name is everywhere, tied to words like hero, victim, fighter. He feels exposed, like the world's peeling back his skin. But there's pride in it too. Pride in proving his grandfather's teachings right. Jenkins claps his shoulder. Your grandfather would be grinning ear to ear. You didn't just defend yourself, you woke this town up. Sarah sorts through mail, her hands shaking as she opens a letter from a legal aid group offering support. Another envelope holds a scholarship offer, the first of many, Jenkins predicts. The community's rallying, but it's not all rosy. Hateful comments still litter the internet, and Daniel knows some in Willow Creek will never change. But the tide's shifting, and for the first time, he feels it. The possibility of justice, of a future where he's not defined by their lies. The fight's not over, but the truth is finally free, and it's louder than any weapon the bullies ever wielded. The courthouse looms over Willow Creek, its stone steps crowded with reporters and cameras, a stage for a town forced to face itself. Daniel's fight has gone beyond the pool, beyond the night ambush. It's now a battle for truth in a place that's hidden from it for too long. The videos have stripped away the lies, but the powerful don't fall easily, and the bullies' families are ready to fight dirty. Yet as the gavel falls, something shifts, not just for Daniel, but for everyone watching. This isn't just about one kid anymore. It's about a community learning what justice can mean when courage takes the lead. Daniel climbs the courthouse steps, Sarah and Mr. Jenkins at his sides, their presence a shield against the flashing cameras. Reporters shout questions. Daniel, were you targeted for your race? Will you sue the town? He keeps his eyes forward, Jenkins' advice in his mind. Let the truth speak, son. Don't give them your voice yet. Their lawyer, Miss Carter, meets them at the entrance, her face tense. It's a war zone in there. The prosecutor's doubling down, and Chief Brooks is sitting front row with the families. Daniel's stomach knots, but he nods, his grandfather's words steadying him. Strength is in your calm, not your fists. Inside, the juvenile courtroom is packed, the air thick with tension. Tyler, Ryan, and Ethan sit with their parents, their clean shirts and innocent expressions a stark contrast to the bruises still fading on their faces. Chief Brooks glares from the gallery, his badge gleaming, while Ryan's mother, a councilwoman, whispers to their lawyer. Ethan's parents, local business owners, sit stiffly, their wealth no shield against the videos now circling the globe. Daniel takes his seat, Sarah's hand squeezing his, her warmth a reminder he's not alone. All rise, the bailiff calls, and Judge Alvarez enters, her face unreadable. She surveys the room, her gaze lingering on the bullies' families. We're here for case number JV 2025-813 regarding Daniel Harris, she states. The prosecutor, a slick man named Mr. Vaughn, stands his voice confident. Your Honor, the state will prove Daniel Harris engaged in violent, unprovoked assaults, using his martial arts training to endanger 3 minors. We have witness statements and video evidence. Ms. Carter leaps up. Objection. The prosecution's evidence is incomplete and misleading. New videos clearly show my client was the victim. Vaughn smirks. Those videos are unverified, Your Honor. Judge Alvarez raises a hand. I'll decide what's verified. Proceed, Mr. Vaughn, but tread carefully. Vaughn outlines his case, painting Daniel as a dangerous outsider, his martial arts skills a threat to the town's safety. The room shifts uncomfortably, the lies sounding thinner in the face of what everyone's seen online. Your Honor, a deep voice interrupts from the back. Mr. Jenkins stands holding a USB drive, his posture straight as a soldier's. I'm Harold Jenkins, former Marine, witness to the harassment of this young man. I have evidence that changes everything. Murmurs ripple through the crowd. Vaughn's face reddens. This is improper, Your Honor. Judge Alvarez studies Jenkins, her expression softening. Approach, Mr. Jenkins. He strides forward, handing the drive to the bailiff, who passes it to the judge. Given the gravity of these claims, she says, I'll view this now. A screen descends, and the first video plays, the pool attack. Gasps fill the room as Tyler, Ryan, and Ethan force Daniel underwater, their laughter echoing. Tyler's voice sneers, stay down, kid. The footage shifts to the nighttime ambush, the bullies' weapons glinting, their threats clear. Nobody's gonna believe you, Ethan growls. Daniel's defense is surgical, his restraint undeniable. A third clip shows Tyler whispering at the pool. My dad says we can do whatever we want. The courtroom falls silent, the truth heavy and inescapable. Judge Alvarez removes her glasses, her voice low but piercing. Mr. Vaughn, do you wish to continue? Vaughn stammers, we'd request a recess to review. A woman in an FBI jacket stands. Special Agent Torrey's FBI. We request this evidence be preserved for our investigation into civil rights violations and obstruction. Chief Brooks slumps, his face pale. The bullies' parents huddle with their lawyers, their whispers frantic. Judge Alvarez raises her gavel. This hearing is dismissed. All charges against Daniel Harris,